Nope.
Hello, dear listener. Thank you for joining me in this week's video. With St. Patrick's Day around the corner, I figured it would be a good time to explore some spooky Irish folklore. So grab your Guinness and get comfy, as I share with you 9 creepy Irish ghouls. Number 1. Mrs. Don't Come Running. The legend of Mrs. Don't Come Running still lives amongst the children of Ireland. Kids all across the land know the story. The story of an old, haggard woman who refused to show any pity to her own children. No matter how much pain they were in, even when they fell off walls and broke their legs, she would not even bat an eye. Irish kids know to be careful while playing, in case they get hurt, and hear the ghastly cackles of Mrs. Don't Come Running. Number 2. The Phoenix Man. In Dublin, you will find Phoenix Park, home to many urban legends, but none so terrifying as the Phoenix Man. Some have described him as a young gentleman with a slender figure, while others describe him as morbidly obese and middle-aged. Regardless, people who walk through Phoenix Park at night know to listen for low moans and grunts coming from the woods, followed by the sight of the bushes shaking. These are the prelude to the Phoenix Man making his appearance. Number 3. The Chancellor. Perhaps a product of the Great Famine, no Irishman would dare cross the being they call the Chancellor. This evil entity requires yearly sacrifices and tributes in his name, threatening the wiping of all agricultural growth if he is not appeased. Thousands of young Irish people have been sacrificed in order to please the Chancellor. Even the Irish heads of state make frequent reference to how just and kind this horrible old crone is, out of fear that their crops may be destroyed if they don't. Number 4. The Banshee. Commonly retailed to children in a desperate attempt to get them to sleep, this frightening story is one of the oldest folklore stories and one of the most well-known, even outside of Ireland. Also known as the Bean Sidhe, which loosely translates to Woman of the Fairy Mound or Fairy Woman. The Banshee is a grim spirit who announces the death of a family member. The Banshee is always experienced by a loved one, never by the person who will actually perish. The loved one hears a high-pitched shriek, fit to make your blood run cold, which is carried across the night's breeze, warning that death is near. It is said that each individual Banshee mourns the death of one family in particular. And, although she is not necessarily a menacing spirit, it is understandable that its appearance, and of course, its scream, are feared as terrifying omens. Number 5. The Dullahan. Comparable to the well-known legend of the Headless Horseman, the tale of the Dullahan suggests that on certain spooky nights, such as Halloween, this frightening ghost appears riding his corpse-like black stallion by night. If the Dullahan stops riding, someone will die. Should you be lucky enough to only see the spirit in passing, he will cover you in a bucket of blood, or if you're more unfortunate, blind you in a single eye. But if he stops, he will suck the soul from your body, taking you from the land of the living. The only saving grace in this legend is that the Dullahan is terrified of gold, and even the smallest amount could scare him off and save your life. Number 6. The Dober Chew. Most countries have at least one mythical monster lurking in their waters or their forests, and Ireland is no exception. In fact, the whole island is littered with legendary beasts and cryptids, but possibly the most impressive of all of them is the Dober Chew. It's often thought to be some sort of Irish version of the Loch Ness Monster, but the Dober Chew is actually the polar opposite of Nessie, where the latter is more or less a peaceful creature. The former is a bloodthirsty, crocodile-sized beast with an appetite for human flesh. The Dober Chew is said to be extremely fast and agile, both in and out of water, always ready to attack the unprepared. Dober Chew live in small populations and may be migratory, so their hypothetical numbers are unknown. Equally mysterious is their true appearance. Although they're generally reported as ugly, dark, and dangerous fish-like monsters, some sources present them as aquatic mammals that look like massive otters, sometimes even being referred to as the father of all otters. Although the Dober Chew is clearly a cryptid, and its existence is debatable, it's worth noting that attacks and sightings have consistently been reported for centuries, from the earliest written documents dating all the way back to the early 18th century, to the most recent one in the year 2000. Number 7. Fetch. The Fetch is an ancient legend in Celtic culture, similar to the legend of the doppelganger, derived from German folklore. If one sees their fetch, which is a dark, double version of themselves, it is usually a sign that they are going to die. The fetch is described as an exact, spectral double of a living human, whose appearance is often regarded as ominous for obvious reasons. Number 8. The Black Cat of Kilkee House. A ferocious phantom cat is said to haunt the old Kilkee house in County Dublin. This phantom feline has been seen as recently as 1968. People have claimed to see the beast's glowing eyes glaring back at them from the surrounding forest. Some say that it's not actually the spirit of a cat, but instead a terrifying elemental spirit, supposedly the size of a panther. It's been said that it has the ability to speak to humans, and also has a humanoid-looking face. The Kilkee cat that stalks the halls and grounds is clearly supernatural, and it's very doubtful that it's the spirit of an actual animal. Number 9. Stinky Jack. There was once a crooked con man named Jack. One day, Jack was visited by Satan to be taken to the underworld for his evil, deceptive, and alcoholic ways. Jack agreed, but he would only go if he could have one more drink. He and Satan went to the pub, and to pay for the drink, Satan turned himself into a silver coin. Jack took the silver coin and stuck it in his pocket. Because there was a crucifix also in his pocket, Satan could not transform back into his demonic form. He pleaded with Jack to remove the crucifix, and Jack did so, under the condition that he could live on Earth for 10 more years. Satan agreed and left Jack on Earth. Shortly after that, Jack ended up dying unexpectedly, which was much earlier than his 10 years. But because the devil is a stickler for details, he would not let Jack enter hell. Instead, Satan made Jack a harborer for wayward spirits, charged with lighting the way to the netherworld with a candle inside of a carved gourd or pumpkin, also known as a jack-o'-lantern. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this week's special holiday video. If you did, smash that like button, share, comment, subscribe, you already know. For those of you participating in the festivities of St. Patrick's Day this weekend, please be careful and drink water. Just have a drink of water for every 2 beers. I think that's pretty fair. And when I say water, I don't mean Bud Light. I mean actual H2O. So, until next time, everybody, stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next video.